All right, this one's going to make your blood boil. Picture this. You walk into a store, any store, retail store. You pick up an item, check the price. You assume that price is real. It's fixed, right? Fair. You know, the same price for everyone. That assumption now is completely wrong because today, two people can stand in the same exact store at the same exact time, buy the same product, and pay different prices. Same shelf, same barcode, same cash register, different prices. It's not a glitch. It's not inflation. It's not supply and demand by any means. After you watch this show, you'll never look at a posted price the same again. They even came up with a catchy name for it. It's a little trick. They call it dynamic pricing. And it's quietly rewriting the rules of commerce right under your nose. Let's jump into this new retail ruse. I'm going to show you ways big retailers are extracting more of your money without ever telling you their tactics because they know if you knew, they'd be pissed off and they'd likely take their business elsewhere. Dynamic pricing means the price you see is no longer everyone's price. It can change based on where you live, what phone you use, how often you shop, your browsing history, your income level. Think about that. Even how desperate an algorithm thinks you are. And here's the most important part. You're not told. You're never told this is happening. You're not warned. You're not opting into this deal. You're being judged silently by software. This didn't start in stores. It started online. Airlines figured it out first. Hotels followed. Ride sharing perfected it. We accepted it because it felt abstract, because it wasn't happening face to face. But now it's crossed the line because dynamic pricing has moved from the screen to the shelves, to the register, to the grocery aisles. And once that happens, confidence in pricing and fairness dies a certain death. Let me give you a real life example. Staples. Staples was caught running zip code based pricing online. Same product, same day, same company, different prices depending on where you lived. Affluent neighborhoods, higher prices. Lower income zip codes, lower prices. Same printer ink, different price based on where you ordered the item. When they were exposed, Staples simply claimed it was, we were testing a model. That word, testing, hold that thought for a minute. Consumers don't get test fairness. Corporations do it without ever telling us what they're up to. Amazon ran a similar test. They called it an experiment. Different users were shown different prices for the same items based on browsing behavior and purchasing history. Amazon denied intentional discrimination, but admitted to price testing. Again, that word, testing. If you don't know you're being tested on, you're not a customer, you're a data point. You're a test dummy, really. And now, this isn't just online anymore. This is where it gets really dark and really ugly. Electronic shelf labels are now being rolled out across major retailers. Digital price tags on the shelves, not actual paper ones where they can change them and both people can see it at the same time. Digital. You know what that means? They can change the prices instantly. Sometimes they can change it when you've left the aisle and someone else is coming down the aisle. They can change it remotely, continuously, by your time of day, by inventory levels, by local demand, and eventually by you, who you are, what income level you represent. In other words, if they think you'll pay more than the other guy from another checkout aisle, they'll electronically make your price higher than his. The algorithm will decide what you can afford and what you're going to pay and what you're willing to pay. Is that fair? It seems unethical to me. My opinion, it should be illegal as well. But that's their end game. How's this? Disney, House of Mouse. Disney has been doing dynamic pricing for over a year, testing to determine just how much they can squeeze out of higher income folks, unbeknownst to them. Chief Financial Officer Hugh Johnson nonchalantly explained it away like this, and I'm quoting, "We've been doing it for over a year. We've been doing it in our hotels." He then said the quiet part out loud. Disney park goers, and I'm quoting here, tend to be at the higher income deciles, and those customers tend to do well. What does that tell you? Did Disney just say if you can pay more, if you can afford to pay more than those other folks, we're going to charge you more for the same park, same day. That is outrageous. And it's crept into our everyday essential purchases. The grocery store. Picture this. You walk into a store after work. You're exhausted. You're hungry. You just want to pick something up and go home. It's been a long day. The system knows that. It knows your phone, your routine, your spending patterns. The price you see is not the best price. It's the maximum price the algorithm thinks you'll tolerate. Is that fair? It's not what's equal, but the max, and they know from your own history, they know the max and they know you'll fork it over. By the way, that's not capitalism. Capitalism requires transparency. This is algorithmic extraction. And it doesn't stop at income. Studies show pricing differences correlated to race-adjacent neighborhoods, age demographics, how old you are. Younger people are willing to spend more. So they raise the prices when a younger person, based on their phone, when their IP address walks by a price, it goes higher. This is what's happening, folks. I'm not making this up. How about education levels? Political geography. Wow. Really? So if you're conservative, you're going to pay more, or if you're liberal, you're going to pay less in certain parts of the country? Wow. You want to know what that means? It means if you're in a minority group, you may be actually being charged more for an item because the algorithm knows that that item is more in demand by certain minority groups. That, I would call that retail racism. You're being segregated into economic worth classes without consent. That's very important. Without disclosure. That's all the difference in the world there. You want to opt into their test? By all means, do it. They're doing it without telling you and without recourse. Listen to this. Popular food delivery service, Instacart. Millions of people are using Instacart. They've been using a shady algorithm that changes different prices to different customers on the same grocery items in the same supermarkets without telling the customers, according to an explosive new study. At a Target store in North Canton, Ohio, the wildly popular grocery app charged a customer $2.99 for Skippy Creamy Peanut Butter one day in September, while other Instacart users that same day paid as much as $3.59 for the same jar picked up in the same location, according to that study. At a Safeway supermarket in Seattle, shoppers using Instacart paid 5 different prices for the same Oscar Mayer deli turkey. $3.99, $4.31, $4.59, $4.69, and $4.89. Get this, that's a range spanning a whopping 23% between the lowest and the highest markups. Wow. Same store, same product, different customers. Groundwork, a consumer advocacy group, said Instacart's pricing algorithm could lead to an individual shopper forking over an extra $1,200 on groceries each and every year, even as food inflation has outpaced other increases for other products. Billionaire Robert Smith warned that algorithmic systems, when left unchecked, can institutionalize inequality faster than any human decision maker ever could. Now that's unbelievable. That in 2026, we're being segregated without our knowledge or consent based on our race. Aren't there laws against that? Thought so. Here's how the getting around the public scrutiny works. They rationalize machines don't feel shame. They don't feel guilt. They don't feel accountability. Their only purpose is to optimize profits relentlessly. Fine, but we're the test subjects, remember? And they're never telling us they're doing this. Even artists have been calling it out. Neil Young has warned that technology is stripping away the human layer, the fairness in the name of efficiency and profits. And that's exactly what's happening here. Efficiency and profiteering is being weaponized against the unsuspecting consumers. Now regulators are finally deciding to take a look in. The FTC, Federal Trade Commission, has opened inquiries into algorithmic price discrimination. Lawmakers are finally asking a very simple question. If two customers are charged different prices for the same item at the same time, isn't that deceptive? Is that even fair? Is that even legal? They're going to look into it. Because when pricing becomes individualized but invisible, the market is no longer free. It's manipulated. Now, here's the psychological shift you need to understand. For generations, price was a signal. You saw it, you evaluated it, and you made a decision based on it. But now, price is a decision already made about you and for you by the algorithm. Your choice comes after the judgment. You're no longer the judge of whether you want to pay that price. The algorithm knows if you're going to or not. That flips the power completely to them. And once consumers realize this, trust collapses. You stop believing price tags. You stop believing brands, and you stop believing in the system. And when trust collapses, markets don't correct, they fracture. That's why this matters so much. This isn't just about discounts or loyalty programs or surge pricing for concerts or Uber rides. This is about the end of a shared reality at the cash register. Same product, same store, same moment, different truth. So the next time you hear dynamic pricing, understand what it really means. It means the price is no longer fixed. Fairness is no longer assumed, and transparency, optional. And once price transparency becomes optional, exploitation becomes inevitable. This is not innovation. This is the quiet rule change. And rule changes always favor the house until people notice. That's why we talk about it. That's why we shine a light on it on the edge. Because if price certainty disappears, so does the last honest contract between buyer and seller. Different prices, same register. That is the dark side of dynamic pricing. And now you can't unsee it.